Just be honest with yourself for about 5 seconds. You have no idea what to expect from Texas A&M going into 2024. And that's kind of a good thing and also a terrifying thing, both in College Station and for the rest of the SEC. Because it's a brand new coaching staff, but it's headlined by the guy who brought the best version of the Jimbo Fisher out in Mike Elko. They have the resources and the talent to be one of the best teams starting in 2024. But if they went 5-7, I don't think many people would be shocked. If they went 10-2, I don't think many people would be shocked. And if they were an 8-4 team, I think that most people would have them as that advertised. But after what you saw in the Maroon and White game, the biggest takeaway, Nic Scourton's going to be a reason why you can at least dream as a dark horse destination for the Aggies to making it to the college football playoff. What's going on, SEC Unfiltered? It's Cole Thompson here. Make sure that you like the video, hit the comments section. What's your prediction for Texas A&M going into 2024? Make sure that you also hit the subscribe button because we're talking college football every single day leading up to week 1. It's right around the corner. Follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson and my own YouTube channel at Mr. Cole Thompson. Follow us on social media because we're everywhere and we're going to be everywhere moving forward at SEC Unfiltered, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call Elon's app. Make sure that you download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, and to keep up with the #1 content surrounding the #1 conference in all of college athletics, make sure that you visit secunfiltered.com. Nic Scourton came as advertised of what you imagine a Boilermaker to be, because he did play at Purdue. But I'm not talking about what the yellow and black is about in West Lafayette, Indiana. I'm talking about a true Boilermaker, the guys who built the railroads throughout the 1800s. They're mean, they're cold, they don't care about anything in their way, they eat nails with milk for breakfast, they don't really sleep, and they terrorize you covered in dirt top to bottom to get the job done. That's the way that Scourton plays football. And what's crazy is he's nowhere near, I think, the level of what he can be. So keep in mind that when Nic Scourton was at Purdue, he was running in a 3-4 defense. So he was playing from a 2-point stance as an outside linebacker. And not only did he have 15.5 tackles for losses last season and led the Big Ten in sacks with 10, he also was doing this from an edge perspective. Well, on Saturday, against a very up-and-coming Texas A&M offensive line, not a great offensive line, I'll give the credit. There still are some flaws, and there are still a ton of areas of improvement. He was able to get 2.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for losses, 5 tackles on the day, and that was because he got bored and finally just stopped to give Conner Weigman a shot. And by the way, Conner Weigman is the starting quarterback, and he didn't want to hurt his quarterback week 1 to put his team down and out of the count. But to be fair, you feel pretty confident in Marcel Reed and in Jalen Henderson to run the offense led by Colin Klein. But still, in a real game, there is no whistle. There's simply go get the quarterback number 11 and get 11 tackles if you can in this game. Better yet, if you can get 11 tackles for losses, we're probably going to win by double digits every single outing. Scourton came as advertised. He looks the part of exactly what you want in a great edge rusher. But the crazy thing of all is, again, this is him learning how to play from a 3-point stance, something that he has not done during his tenure. He was an outside linebacker at Bryan High School in the greater area of College Station. He was an outside linebacker at Purdue. This is the first time that he's playing with his hand in the dirt, and he is boot scooting booging like Brooks and Dunn up in the backfield and eating offensive linemen while taking the quarterback's lunch money. He is the bully. He is a straight up menace. He is a terror, a nightmare, and honestly, the things that people dream of when they want to crap their pants. That's Scourton. And he's only 1/4 of what this defensive line could be, which has been a bread and butter underneath Mike Elko for years. But you want to know what else is bread and butter and looks great? RHOBACK. I talk about RHOBACK all the time on this channel, but if you haven't heard of them by now, #1, either subscribe to the channel. That way you're watching more of us because we talk about RHOBACK all the time. But #2, what are you doing? Go visit them right now at RHOBACK.com and get your very own performance polo hoodie because of not only is it form-fitting, but it looks great on you. They just released the Isaiah collection in honor of the Masters. It's a great drink, but it's a great fabric and a great design. You look good while wearing it, and more importantly, you get to feel good at the same process. We got the summer months right around the corner. You know what that means? Barbecues, lake days, golfing outings, and a ton of other things where you're going to be out in the sun where global warming is just taking over the United States. Whatever the case may be, back sweat is awful, and it honestly ruins your day. You got to shower 3 times. You got to be covered in the stickiness. And I live in Houston, Texas, where basically it is the armpit of Jesus Christ because of holy crap, the humidity is awful. But you know what I don't have? Back sweat. You want to know why I don't have back sweat? Because the performance polo hoodies from RHOBACK make sure that I am not only dressed to the 9, but I feel good to the 9. So if you want to make sure that you feel comfortable and look comfortable this upcoming summer, make sure that you visit RHOBACK.com. Use the promo code SECU for 20% off your very first order. That's SECU at RHOBACK, RHOBACK.com for 20% off your very first purchase. You want to look good. You want to feel good. You want your team to play well. If they're going to dress well, you got to dress well week 1 as well. They're great for game days. Go visit RHOBACK.com and use the promo code SECU. Nic Scourton is 1/4 of this defensive line at Texas A&M. And I have to bring this up because I don't think people understand what's returning. You have arguably one of the biggest risers that is going to learn underneath a wizard when it comes to defensive lines in Mike Elko with Shamar Stewart. You also bring back Shamar Turner, who is a versatile chess piece. He can line up as a 3-tech. He can line up as a 1-tech. He can line up in the 4-eye. He can be a good bull rusher. He can work against the run. And then you have that last spot available. It can be anybody. Anybody can take it over. And that's kind of the beauty of it. You brought over Rodis Johnson from Wisconsin. He had a very good spring game. You still have Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy. He hasn't been active this spring, but you know the upside with him. You still have Albert Regis on the roster. There is a ton of optimism for that last spot. And then you feel good about your linebacking room, headlined by the captain, Torian York. Scooby Williams played phenomenal, I think, in coverage, even though he is probably your secondary guy behind Damian Saffold. And the other part that's really crazy is your secondary is getting more improved. So right now, we talk about the offense still being a little bit anemic. They, I think, truly need to define who is going to be their number 1 receiver. Whether they go out and they bring in a Keandre Lambert-Smith, or they maybe go out and get Samuel Brown from Houston. He is a name that I have heard be linked to several SEC schools. Maybe you just go ahead and name Noah Thomas your number 1 guy. Mike Elko, post-game in the Maroon and White game, did say he has everything that we need to be a number 1. He's just got to continue to refine his overall process. But if you have that, you're in a really, really, really good spot for Texas A&M going into year 1. You know that Mike Elko gets the best version out of his defensive lines. Go back and look at the history from DeMarvin Leal to Kingsley Keke to Justin Madubuike. They've all gone on to have exceptional careers at the next level, and they were exceptional in the SEC. You already have an established unit with guys who are a part of this process, and they're still untapped. Again, Scourton right now got 2.5 sacks and 3 tackles for losses against his own offensive line while still learning how to play a position. Give him a summer. What does that look like? Are we talking about 10 sacks, 15 sacks, 17.5 sacks? And then we got to worry about, well, who cares if Texas A&M goes 9-3? They just prove that not only do they have the resources to work the transfer portal, just like a Missouri, just like an Ole Miss, just like a Florida, just like any other team in the country, they also know how to build trench play to where it is the backbone of their team. And in my opinion, if you have that, you stand a chance. The 2 things that I always think that you need to have to be a successful program in college football. Number 1, a great quarterback that gives you potential. And number 2, a stellar, stout defensive line and offensive line. If your trench play is secure, you stand a chance. If your quarterback is secure, you stand a chance. Connor Wegman wasn't working with the number 1 offensive line or the number 1 wide receivers, but even still, I believe in him to have a good season ahead. And I believe in this defensive line, mainly because of Scourton, Stewart, and Turner are going to terrorize quarterbacks starting week 1 against Elko's former team in Notre Dame. Yes, no more Joe Alt. No more Blake Fisher. There's question marks when it comes to what Riley Leonard is going to be. Don't be surprised if Notre Dame, one of the hottest teams going into 2024, heads out of College Station with an L and their legs tucked between them because if they don't know what the hell happened. I'll tell you what happened. Nic Scourton woke up and chose violence and finalized his entire craft. Texas A&M has a great support system, and they have the boosters that are willing to funnel in the sums to keep this team afloat. They also now have a guy that can be a household figure in the SEC from the jump. So when we talk about Texas A&M going into 2024, it's kind of an enigma, and maybe that's a good thing. But the thing that you're going to take away with is, without question, Mike Elko is going to get the best play from his defensive line. And it's going to be headlined by Nic Scourton, who may end up becoming yet another first-round talent that resides from College Station's trenches. Make sure that you like the video, hit the comment section down below. What are your overall thoughts from the Maroon and White game, and what do you think Texas A&M is going to look like in 2024? Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the ring notification. That way you don't miss a single episode of SEC Unfiltered. Follow me on my own YouTube channel at Mr. Cole Thompson, and make sure that you're following us on social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, really wherever you get your podcast listening systems or your social media, at SEC Unfiltered. And for the #1 content surrounding your favorite team and your favorite conference, make sure you visit secunfiltered.com. I'm Cole Thompson. Until next time, folks. Later.